What's up, everyone? Last week we covered some of my drumming skills to pay the bills, and we took a look at 16th note one-handed grooves. And this week we're going to take a look at the bossa nova. I feel like the bossa nova doesn't get the respect it deserves. Sure, it might seem like a simple groove, and you've probably heard things like Girl from Ipanema, and you could probably handle that if it comes your way. But what if they call something like blue bossa, or maybe a boogaloo bossa, or something in that bossa realm? And if you're not familiar with this yet, you don't want things to fall apart, and then you don't want to not get called back for the gig. This may not seem like the most exciting groove or the most exciting style or genre because you're not at the forefront of what's going on, but this is an essential skill, and I get asked to play bossa novas often and different variations of bossa novas. And what's so great about the bossa nova is that it's going to start developing your 16th notes that you can apply to other 16th note grooves, but it's also working on some independence with the left hand, and you're also working on that repeating samba or bossa nova bass drum pattern. To help you with this style and a whole bunch of other styles and genres that I've been called upon to play over my 30-year career, I created Drumming Skills to Pay the Bills, which is basically a checklist of a lot of the styles, genres, and skills that I've been asked to do on a regular basis, and it'll help prepare you when you get asked to do a gig, but it'll also help you make sure that you keep that gig. Imagine if you get hired by your favorite funk band in town and you're super psyched to go play that gig, but the first hour starts with cocktail hour and people are getting drinks and they're talking, and sometimes, the mother of the bride is catching up with her cousins or maybe her sisters, and they want to be able to hear each other talk before they get into the fun funk part of the evening where everyone's dancing. Well, a lot of times those beginnings of those gigs start with things like bossa nova, maybe a couple different swing tunes, maybe some ballads. But even if you're getting hired by your favorite funk band, there's a chance you might have to play a bossa nova. So you want to make sure that you're prepared for this and you can handle it if it comes your way. I know that there's a lot of information out there and a lot of you are experiencing information overload. So stop practicing the wrong things that are not making you any better as a drummer and start practicing the practical skills that you're going to need when you start playing with real musicians in the real world. Take advantage of this special discount that I am offering. Click the link in the description and get started really improving your drumming today. So let's begin the lesson and dig into the bossa nova. If you hang with me through the end of the lesson, you'll be developing some new independence, also enhancing your musicality, and developing a newfound respect for this beautiful style of music. I know from experience, if you can get these skills together, you'll be well on your way to becoming a working and gigging drummer. Bossa nova is a style of music coming from Brazil. It started to develop in the 1950s. It was originally played on percussion and a lot of shakers were involved, sometimes claves and surdos, and eventually this started being played on the drum set. I've been on a ton of gigs where the bossa nova has been called, so in my opinion, it's a very important style that you should have in your arsenal ready to go if you're called upon to play it. For me, when I was developing and learning and trying to get my independence together, I focused on grooves and styles that were challenging independence-wise, and so I would work on those things because I knew that if I could get them together, I'd eventually have to play them in a musical situation. So instead of just practicing exercises, I worked on specific styles and specific grooves that were challenging independence-wise. So for me, the bossa nova is one of these grooves that fits the bill for challenging you in an independence and coordination way, but it's also something that you're going to have to play eventually if you want to play live music with real people. To get started, I'm going to play your most straightforward bossa nova, and the left-hand pattern is very similar to a 3-2 clave, although it's not exactly the 3-2 clave. It's just a little bit different, but let's check this out now. You may have to slow that down a bit, and that is okay. So slow it down as slow as you have to be able to cleanly play this. Now you may want to just start with the hand and then add the foot, and then start with the hand and add the cross stick. Then maybe go back to hand and foot and then add the cross stick. There's a lot of different ways you could build this up. Pick one of your favorite ways to build this up. Start it as slow as you need to, and work on this, and it may take a little time, so be patient with yourself and develop this gradually. So the question comes up a lot, should you play this heel up or heel down on the bass drum? And I really feel you should spend the time and shed and practice this with your heel down so that you can learn how to control this and play it at a lighter volume. Remember that this is a lighter style and a quieter style, and you don't want to get too bombastic on the bass drum. So right now I'm going to play just the feet, and I'm going to keep my heel down on the bass drum and play this for you so you can see just what the feet are doing. You want to be able to play this on the ride cymbal as well, which is simple enough, but once you start playing on the ride cymbal, you want to play on the upbeats on the hi-hat, and that's going to take a little bit of coordination as well. On some classic recordings, you'll hear that this pattern is reversed, so this 3-2 clave will become a modified 2-3 clave. And some people call this Brazilian clave, or it's also similar to what I call New Orleans clave, where the clave is not ga 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 ga, but it is ga 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 boom. And you'll notice that that rhythm is the underlying rhythm in New Orleans' second line, and it is also the rhythm that we come upon when we reverse this modified 3-2 clave that we had in the first few examples. So now playing this starting on the 2 side, it's going to be this modified clave that is very similar to New Orleans' second line. If the tempo of the tune is too quick for you to effectively play all of the 16th notes with the right hand, then you can simplify this right hand pattern, especially when we start to get up closer to samba tempo. You can simplify things and play what would essentially be a straightened out version of the swing ride cymbal pattern. This next example is based off of a very common tambourine rhythm. I'm going to show you a few more variations that work well in different situations, just to give you an idea of some different ways that you can vary these rhythms. I'm going to count some of these in because some of these are so syncopated that if you're not used to hearing these rhythms, it can be challenging to hear where the one is. So on the ones that are more syncopated, I'm going to count them in. 1, 2, 3, 4. In this next example, the cross stick rhythm is coming from a rhythm that I like to draw upon when I'm playing what I would call boogaloo bossa nova, and we'll get into what that is in just a minute. Right now I'm going to play this as a straight bossa nova, so check this out. So that rhythm is coming from a great Wayne Shorter tune called Adam's Apple. Super fun tune to play, and it's kind of what I would call a boogaloo bossa nova. And when playing in that style, I often like to think of something that Johnny Vidakovich mentioned to me one time, where he was talking about, man, when you're thinking about trying to play in between the cracks, especially when you're trying to play some of this boogaloo bossa nova, think of a camel walking through the desert, and the way that that camel kind of staggers and it has a hump in its walk. So I'm going to imagine that while I play this next example. I'm going to move the right hand up to the ride, I'm going to play in between, and I'm going to envision that camel walking through the desert while playing the same rhythm that we were just playing a minute ago. When I'm playing this, I'll love to add buzzes as well. When playing these things that I would consider boogaloo bossa novas, you can also change the bass drum pattern and change from the strict bossa nova bass drum pattern over to what I would call the mambo bass drum pattern. Right now I'm going to play this not so much as what's written on the page. I'm going to improvise with it a little bit, but I will be basing my ideas off of this Adam's Apple rhythm structure, and I'll be buzzing some of the notes and changing things up just a little bit, but this is basically what I'm thinking about when I'm playing a boogaloo bossa nova.